Live from New York, it's Saturday night. But who will take over after Lorne Michaels retires? Your bar talk guesses, now on the Brew.
Interesting bar talk topic on this week's edition of the Brew. So everybody knows Lorne Michaels is running Saturday Night Live, been in charge of it for like every season except one, and they fired him in the 80s. But who should take over for him? I mean, the guy's getting up on retirement age now. SNL's 50 years old. Joel, who do you think?
Let's go with Oprah. No, I'm just playing.
Oprah, you go, girl.
No, I just think that would be funny. I think it'd be funny if somebody who wasn't funny but was super famous took over, like Dr. Phil or something. You know, just like a really big name, but has no idea how to make it comedic. But if you're actually asking for like a good answer, I think someone like Kenan Thompson would be a great pick, or maybe like a Pete Davidson or a Kate McKinnon, like some of the better SNL cast members over the last like 25 years.
Kenan Thompson, that's a great answer. Didn't even think of that. He's been on the show forever.
He's universally loved. I mean, and he's hilarious, so he can do it.
Yeah, he's absolutely funny. Like he's a great comedian, great actor too. Yeah, that's a good vote. I had an interesting idea. Here's my counterpoint. What about Andy Samberg? He did great on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He's been a longtime cast member of this show. He's not doing anything now that Brooklyn Nine-Nine is done. I thought he's brilliant. I love that sitcom, but I think it's hilarious. He could run the show. He's got definitely ideas. He's definitely hip with the hot topics, everything in pop culture. That's like Wendy Williams. What do you think?
I don't know. I don't think he's the best pick, but I do think he's a pretty funny dude. And he's a very good producer and actor and comedian. So, yeah, I would say that would also be a good pick.
Well, our viewers have a couple of great names here they're going to drop, and here's a bunch I bet you didn't think of, so let's find out what you got to say. So Starman suggests Seth Meyers. Bronx Bombers 46 suggests Jimmy Fallon, Adam Sandler, Andy Samberg, or Tina Fey. Rudy suggests Adam Sandler. Nick suggests Jeff Dunham. And Melissa suggests John Mulaney. Well, Jeff Dunham, that's interesting. John Mulaney, didn't he lose his show because he got messed up with the drugs and stuff? Wasn't there a problem or something?
Yeah, and I think he's kind of funny, but I don't think he's hilarious. I think out of all those answers that we just heard, I think the most popular ones would either be, like we heard Adam Sandler twice. I think that's the best one out of those options. Tina Fey would probably be pretty popular. She's got a huge following that spans decades. I don't personally think she's funny, but a ton of people do. She does have really good impersonations, so she would have a lot of insight into some of how the characters work. I could see a lot of these people fitting in. I don't know. The best one is probably still, in my opinion, even out of everything, is probably still Kenan.
Yeah, I like those answers. And I know at one point, too, that John Mulaney, they were like billing him as like the next Jerry Seinfeld, which, yeah, I agree with you. I don't think he's quite as funny as that. But there are definitely some good... Adam Sandler, too. I forgot about him. That's pretty...
What about Seinfeld? That's what you just brought up.
Seinfeld, I think, would do it, but Seinfeld, I think, enjoys his retirement now. He's kind of like David Letterman, where they like done their thing. He kind of does little cars and comedians in cars singing every once in a while. But for the most part, the guy just kind of shows up. Well, I don't think he wants like the rigors of weekly television. That shows a pretty big demand to work on. That takes a lot out of you.
Right. Actually, that's what I was going to say. I wanted to see what you said first, but I thought he would also be like a great comedic mind. There's a lot of the comedians they're older and have already made it and just don't want to do the grind anymore.
Yeah, so that show is definitely a grind. Got a few more suggestions, though, and a bunch of people suggested, how about the delightful Jersey Joe? Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
All you have to do is go a couple studios over.
Yeah. I do work in that building. Yes, I do, at this time. Tony says, I don't think there's an analog to Lorne. He's like TV comedy Hugh Hefner. Knows everyone who has ever been famous, has created a media empire with impossibly important influence on multiple generations of comedians and writers, and a great eye for potential talent. For SNL, I'd say Tina Fey's the only person I can think of who might work as the new showrunner, but whoever it is that steps in an incredible shadow, and just like every new cast is compared to past casts, they'll be compared to Lorne despite the fact they have to forge their own path. Wow, first off, comparing him to Hugh Hefner, that is kind of true, though. It is a generational thing. Like, he defined Saturday evening television. You got to give the guy credit.
He did. I would say he's a bigger cultural icon than Hugh Hefner. But he's also got so much time on his side because of the generations that have watched the show and know who he is. I mean, he's got the fan base from people my age to Joe's age to a decade older that still like him. There's not a ton of people that fall into that can still run everything the same way. you kind of have to be like famous from your 20s on from this point in order to get there. But he's not going to be running the show forever, so that will be somebody, and I'm curious to see who it's going to be.
I'm going to tell you the last big name in television history that came to this level is Johnny Carson. When Johnny Carson made The Tonight Show big, there were hosts of The Tonight Show before Johnny Carson. There was Steve Allen on there, and it kind of bebopped along a little bit, Jack Parr. But when Johnny Carson stepped on that show, he made it with the monologue, the band, which every talk show now replicates. So weeknights were made for Johnny. Saturday night was made for Lorne Michaels. So talk about defining a generation. And just like you said about Lorne Michaels, Johnny Carson did the same thing now. I know he's been dead since the 90s, but up until that time, he defined generations on TV from the 50s to the 90s. So big name, and now everybody compares them to him. So that's what's got, just like the point that was made in that comment, everybody's going to compare whoever's next to Lorne Michaels. So I think that comment was totally on point.
Yeah, and if we're going with ghosts to take over the show, then I might nominate George Carlin.
Oh man, we go with ghosts. There's a whole list of names you can start bringing up on there. Yeah, that could really go somewhere. But we have a whole bunch of answers coming up here right now. They're going to be in agreement with something you said earlier, so let's get to it right now because they chimed in. Scooters McGavin says the obvious choice is Tina Fey. Nara John says Tina Fey. Rex says, I've heard Tina Fey was a potential heir to the throne. Vamos Yankee says Tina Fey. Jason says, I think I've heard Tina Fey is choice right now, and I think that would be a brilliant move with her head writer experience and her post-SNL work, showing she's capable of managing shows. I just hope they keep it going. So a whole lot of votes here right now for Tina Fey, but like in your case, they think she's brilliant. You're like, maybe not quite so much.
You guys are jinxing her. It's going to be Amy Poehler now.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Or Rachel Dratch, that whole crew. Yeah, all three of them that are always... Yeah, very interesting. Got one final comment we're going to close the show with. Mike F325 writes in and says, SNL stopped being funny a decade or more ago. Surprised it still lives. Well, it still lives because it's a ratings powerhouse. Funny, it depends what year the cast is in and what their experience are. I guess, I don't know, what do you think?
That comment is the old man yelling at cloud meme. Like, it's exactly that.
The one point to point out, under Lorne Michaels' leadership, the show nearly got canceled in the 80s. Like, he nearly lost that show. They fired him and brought in somebody else one year, and it did even worse. They brought him back, and then he saved the show. So it could happen, but the ratings now, it's too much of an institution. Even like, I'll be out in a bar here on Saturday night, and the thing's on in bars if there's no sports. So it's something people just, comfort food, they know to watch.
Yeah, a lot of familiar faces. A lot of people are into it.
Boy, I hope they find you and I familiar faces and tune into the Brew right here each and every week. Wouldn't it be great?
Hey, you never know.
Maybe you and I could make an appearance on SNL one day. Wouldn't that be great? We could do a drinking show segment.
We could do a drinking show segment. It wouldn't be as funny as them, but it would be a lot of fun.
Well, maybe if we get them to write in, we'll read off cue cards. This is live. Off cue cards, though, maybe.
We're no Jesus and Mero.
Well, I know. That is true. But hey, you know what though? Judge for yourself. Click on that like, subscribe button and see what all fun is waiting for you on the Big Jersey Joe 50 YouTube channel. Seasons of this show and other game show fun, excitement, and talk waiting for you every week. Wow, there's some big names dropped in this show here. I can't wait till this thing shows up in a Google search and all kinds of people show up on the big channel.
For sure.
Yeah, that's all right. And that comment as well. All right. All right, thanks for all your great answers and chiming in. And hey, let's tune in together and see what happens. Jersey Joe and I saying thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time, I hope.
Why do people write funny graffiti on restroom walls? Who cares? Jersey Joe has another funny collection streaming now on Kicking Back with Jersey Joe.